And tonight, 4 accused killers and 1 attempted murder suspect go to bed in the Caddo Parish Juvenile Detention Center. 3 are 13 years old and 2 are 16.
Shreveport doesn't have just a crime problem. It has a juvenile crime problem and a spike in crimes involving guns this fall. Jamie Ostroff discovered that kids are slipping through the cracks and back onto the streets in this 3 Investigates report.
Halloween night, a 78-year-old woman sees something outside her house. It's teenagers breaking into her car. She opens the door and a 13-year-old shoots her. November 3rd, a man delivering pizzas to an apartment complex is ambushed. A 13-year-old and a 16-year-old are arrested. November 28th, a 16-year-old shoots a man for taking his cell phone. He stands over the dying man, rifling through his clothes, looking for that phone. And December 1st, firefighters put out a grass fire in the Allendale neighborhood. They find a man stabbed and burned. Police arrest a 20-year-old and her 13-year-old sister. Investigators believe the girls enticed the victim online before killing him. What is going on?
Police and prosecutors say it's easier than ever for a child to get a gun. Barely legal adults are buying guns for their younger friends, and add that to the roughly 200 guns a year stolen from locked cars, ending up right back on the street.
Now, there is something else 2 of the crimes I just mentioned have in common. Our juvenile justice system could have prevented them.
I'm just out. I don't think I can do it.
Genevieve Romine spent 66 years as a church organist. For the first time, she struggles to find her voice.
This is bad. This is really bad, you know?
On Halloween night, everything changed.
I was in the house and just happened to walk through and look up at the camera and saw these guys in my car. And so I called my husband and told him, look. And we went to the door, opened the door. They jumped out and just started shooting.
Genevieve was shot in the knee.
3.
No longer able to work the pedals, she was robbed of her ability to play at church. Her peace of mind ripped away.
You know, I don't know. I just have these times, you know, that I cry. I have these times that I cry. You know, Jamie, it's rough.
But she's alive to tell her story.
But I just pray and I ask God to just help me.
Lester McGee is not.
I think that's the hardest part right now, because like when you hear the kids ask, you know, where's my daddy, why he's not coming home, it just, I don't know how to answer those questions.
Cheryl Harris's son was 28 years old.
He's a great person, hard worker, family man.
He was delivering pizzas when he died. It was the father of 3's second day on the job.
That's why he ended up getting this second job, you know, because the holidays was coming up and he wanted to make sure they had, everything that they wanted.
Authorities believe a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old, and some friends called in a pizza order intending to rob the delivery driver. Instead of robbing him, they riddled his car with bullets. Apparently, they mistook him for a rival coming after them after an earlier shootout. We've also learned the 16-year-old was on a weekend furlough from juvenile jail. The 13-year-old's mother hadn't seen him for a week, but hadn't filed a missing person report. Then there's the teen who shot Genevieve Romine. He'd been paroled 3 weeks before the shooting, despite disciplinary problems in juvenile jail. He was originally scheduled for release in December.
It's like a 911 level right now. I know the public is very concerned, and we're very concerned.
I sat down with Caddo's Chief Deputy District Attorney, Wilbert Pryor. He says it's hard to get into juvie.
For a juvenile to end up in juvenile prison takes some egregious behavior to get there.
But lately, it's become remarkably easy to get out.
The juvenile detention center in Caddo Parish particularly is way overcrowded.
The facility has just 24 beds.
So what the judges are doing, they're having to pick and choose who to hold and who to release. And they're releasing kids that need to be held.
Pryor also points to part of recent statewide prison reform. Juvenile offenders automatically get hearings after 6 months and again at 9 months to have their case reviewed for early release.
In an adult parole hearing, it's up to the offender to make their case as to why they should be released. That is not the case in these juvenile hearings. The burden shifts to prosecutors, who have to argue as to why the offender should not be released.
Our ADAs are reporting to me that in probably 80% of cases, OJJ is recommending release after 9 months. That doesn't matter if your local elected judge that's responsible to the people has sentenced that child to 5 years or 4 years or whatever that judge has determined. And that's, we fear, is an administrative decision has been made by OJJ to, at 9 months, do all you can to cut them loose because they have so many more coming in.
It's a battle the DA's office wants to fight at the state capitol. They've proposed legislation to do away with that 9-month hearing in hopes that these kids can serve their full sentence. Locally, prosecutors want to work with Mayor-elect Adrian Perkins to put more teeth in existing curfew laws.
The problem is that can has been kicked down the road. The police don't have a place to take the kids at night.
Pryor says police are supposed to take curfew violators to Rutherford House, a taxpayer-funded facility that closes after dark.
So we're going to make sure taxpayer money is going into some place that's open all day and all night for the police to drop off someone that they find on a curfew violation.
Pryor also says parents need to be held more accountable.
Upon a third offense within 2 years, we're proposing that the parent be subject to a month in jail.
Because something needs to be done to keep a mother from losing her son.
Trying to earn a living, he paid with his life. They took an innocent life.
And a church organist from losing her livelihood.
You are the center of my joy.
Though both of these women have lost something dear, they refuse to lose the fight for faith.
I know that God is in control.
And for justice.
And I just can't let this go by. And I'm gonna be there. I have to be strong. My heart hurt. Even my head hurt from crying and holding it in. But I have to stay strong. I have to do this. I'm not gonna rest until justice is served.
Jamie Ostroff, KTBS 3 News.
By faith each day.
Well, overall, juvenile crime is down in Caddo Parish this year. Last year, the DA filed 779 felony charges against juveniles. So far this year, only 672. That's the good news. The bad news, more crimes involving guns. 9 juveniles have been arrested for murder or attempted murder this year. That's the most since 1993, when Shreveport set records for violent crime. There were 12 that year. And you can watch extended interviews with both women and Wilbur Pryor at ktbs.com. Just click on Web Extra.